The 2019 Mathews Pro The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am in London, Kentucky is brought to you by Mathews Archery. The 2019 The 2000 The 2019 The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am in London, Kentucky is brought to you by Mathews Archery. The ASA in London. The ASA in London, Kentucky is brought to you by Hoyt, by Shrewd, and by Trueball XL. The ASA Pro-Am in London, Kentucky is brought to you by PSE Archery. The ASA Pro-Am in London, Kentucky is brought to you by PSE Archery. And by Easton and Vortex Optics. The 2009 The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am. The 2019 The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am in London. The 2019 Mathews Pro. 2019 Mathews. 2019. The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am in London, Kentucky is brought to you by Carbon Express Arrows, by Last Chance Archery, and by Specialty Archery Products. The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am in London, Kentucky is brought to you by Last Chance Archery, by Specialty Archery Products, and Carbon Express Arrows. The 2019 ASA. The 2019 ASA Pro-Am in London, Kentucky is brought to you by Elite, by Black Eagle Arrows, by Gas Bowstrings,
The Mackenzie ASA Pro-Am Tour returns for the 13th time to London, Kentucky, home of the original Kentucky Fried Chicken. Laurel County Fairgrounds plays host to the penultimate round of 2019 as the field of 5 archers is set for our 4 pro classes to decide who will stand on top of the podium and be crowned Mathews Pro-Am champion. It's time for the Pro Pressure Point Shootdown. Well, welcome everyone to the Shootdown field here in London, Kentucky, as archers get ready to, well, be crowned champion of this one. They're judging yardage for the 3 classes that we have. My name is Greg White. Sitting alongside me is pro shooter Christine Harrelson. Christine, welcome to the booth.
Thanks so much.
So it's been an absolutely crazy, well, more day, I guess. Yesterday's day was pretty good. It was pretty solid, but today was crazy. Tell us about it.
It was. We just didn't know what to expect. Everyone was checking the radar from 6 a.m. on because we had some big storms blowing through from the west. So we knew we were going to have wind, heavy rain, and worst of all, lightning and thunder, because that's going to pull us off the range, which it did.
And Christine, right now we're in the yardage judging phase of this one before we get shooting. So what's going through the archers' minds that are in the women's pro, men's pro, and senior pro classes?
They're saying, oh my gosh, how far is that? I think I know how far that closer one is, but how much farther is that deer from the taper, and that turkey, is it really X yardage or not? That's what they're thinking.
And this shoot-down field could not be more different than what we have been shooting. Tell me about the woods and the lanes and all that type of stuff that we saw in qualifications to get here.
Well, first of all, I think it's kind of interesting the mix that we have for the women's pro shooters. We've got some folks, I don't want to say that they're absolutely newcomers, but it's a different mix of top 5. So what we've seen indoors versus outdoor shoot down, that's a big difference. You just don't at all judge the same inside a building as you do out in an open field like this.
All right, while these archers judge, we're going to take a break. On the other side of that break, we're going to talk to the famed Levi Morgan about what Shooter of the Year is all about. So stay with us as our coverage continues of the Mathews Pro-Am for the Mackenzie ASA Pro-Am Tour.
We don't build these bows to be different. We build them to be better. We're the outsiders, the mavericks, the fearless. We forge our own path. We're not chasing anyone, but we know what they're running from. It's an obsession, and the obsessed
Vince Lombardi once said, winning is not a sometime thing. It's an all-time thing. You don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. I've learned in my career I'm only as good as the tools I use.
12 for Levi Morgan.
One chance, one moment, one shot.
Get in the red zone. Carbon Express's small diameter Maxima Red SD, taking big game hunting to an all-new level, making other competitors' single spine arrows obsolete. Patented tri-spine technology controls arrow flight, delivering better downrange energy and accuracy, all in a small diameter shaft. Think you're shooting the best hunting arrow in the game? Think again. Stay in the red zone. Assume nothing and shoot Carbon Express.
Tell us about Shooter of the Year. What is it?
Well, Shooter of the Year is, in my opinion, the most coveted title in the ASA, and it has been for years, and that's the points race. That's who shoots most consistent all year. It's bigger than any tournament, really, and it means more, at least to me, than any of the tournaments, because it's who's the best shooter this year, not today, not yesterday, all year long, who's the most consistent. So it's really just a points race. It doesn't count the shoot-off, doesn't count your finish. It's just pretty much the sum of all your normal day scoring for the year, and that you get to drop your lowest tournament. So, and to me, Shooter of the Year is really the national championship of the ASA, because then you have the Worlds, which is the classic. That also counts for Shooter of the Year. So it's a huge deal, So that's the best way I can put it. The best way I can describe it would be it's the national championship of the ASA.
So for those that are new to the sport,
Right.
What does it take to win a Shooter of the Year?
Consistency. Just you can't really make a mistake. And so when I started this, I turned pro when I was 18, and Jeff had won 7 in a row. That seemed impossible to me, and of course everybody, because we all realize how hard it is to shoot consistent all year long, tournament after tournament, with this kind of pressure and not make mistakes, that'll cost you. Knowing somebody out here is going to shoot really well. So you really have to just be able to put all that behind you and shoot one day at a time, one shot at a time, one tournament at a time, and know in the back of your mind what's at stake. But if you shoot every shot in every tournament thinking about Shooter of the Year, I don't think you could do it, And so I won the first year, that's great. And I won 2, and then, me and my wife were like, maybe we could do it, And then the closer I got to Jeff's record, it was like, holy cow, this is possible. And then so we just kept going, and now 12 in, and this year I'm way behind, And I knew eventually there'd be a year it would be over, the streak would be over. But now even looking back, if you told me win 12 in a row from right now, it seems impossible. So you just shoot your bow one tournament at a time, one shot at a time, and let the cards fall where they fall, and the most consistent guy gets awarded.
Well, Christine, when you look at Shooter of the Year for Men's Pro, Levi Morgan actually made up 19 points on Danny McCarthy, and we're at the point of the season where the one has been dropped. So you can see there, Danny McCarthy 22 points ahead of Levi Morgan. So we have, one more round to go after this. Is it possible, you think, for Levi to reel in Danny at this point?
It is always possible. He is just one person I would never count out, and I know that Dan knows that as well. Nobody that's on the board right now, you see Dan, Levi, Jack, Tommy, and Joseph. Nobody can fall asleep at the wheel, and anything could happen. So they're all going to have to stay on top of their game.
We'll talk more about Shooter of the Year and the other classes on the other side of this commercial break. And when we come back, we're going to get things going with the Women's Pro class. So keep it locked right here for the 2019 Mackenzie ASA Pro-Am Tour.
You have about 60 seconds. They're just finishing up.
The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am in London, Kentucky is brought to you by Mathews Archery.
Chuck, you're up.
Welcome everybody to the 2019 Mathews Pro-Am here in London, Kentucky. We're going to get started with the Women's Pro Shootdown. Your 5th place qualifier from Utica, Ohio, shooting a .383 with 5 bonus rings, shooting for Mathews, Laura Chenault. Your 4th place qualifier, shooting for Prime, from Weston, Idaho, a .393 with 5 bonus rings, Lindsay Christensen. Your 3rd place qualifier, shooting for Mathews, from Dublin, Georgia, a .404 with 7 bonus rings, Kaylee Johnston. Your 2nd place qualifier, from Marsden, Saskatchewan, shooting for Mathews, a .414 with 12 bonus rings, Erin McGlattery. And your number 1 Women's Pro qualifier, shooting for Mathews, a .418 with 12 bonus rings, from Lapeer, Michigan, Cara Kelly.
All right, Christine Harrelson, Greg White here at this shoot down. Christine, we have 5 shooters ready to roll. Tell us, what are we up against? What are they doing? How does this all work?
All right, you've got your top 5 scoring women's pros up right now. They've made it to the shoot down. In front of them are 5 targets. Each person is at a stake. They're going to shoot 1 target at a time. Then they're going to move on to the next until all 5 archers have shot all 5 targets. Then, if anyone is within 10 points of the leader, they'll go to a 6th and final target.
All right, so Cara Kelly comes in here with a 4-point advantage over Erin McGlattery. Laura Chenault pretty far back, and we were talking before this one, and I just said, you going for all 14s? And she said, I don't really know. You know, I've got to get out there and really take a look, so we'll see what she's decided.
Well, she's starting on a really tough one as far as getting the 14. That would be the turkey, and it is tiny, but she went for it.
Yeah, you can see it looks like it's just outside the 10 ring.
Mm-hmm. She went for the 14, and she was shy. She didn't have quite enough yardage on there.
All right, so then after these, we are going to score them.
And it looks like Cara started out hot. She hit that 12 on the taper, which I think may be closest target to us, if not one of the closest to us. So that's a good start. She took advantage of a close one.
And it looks like position number 2 is kind of it's a very difficult one to start off on the big deer.
It is if you're trying to make some kind of big move, which she was, which I think was probably a little bit too risky because the gap isn't that great between number 1 and number 2, Cara and Erin. So she missed the 14 on her try. Erin did, so that widened the gap between her and Cara because Cara got the 12 on her first shot.
Kaylee Johnston with an 8. This will be Lindsay Christensen with a 10. So Christensen 11 points back, starting this out from 3rd place.
But good for her for making it because she's kind of a newcomer in the shoot down. She made 1 already this year, and this was a really difficult course, so great for her.
Yeah. Her 7th time shooting ASA competition.
Wow.
For Lindsay Christensen, her dad, of course, is famous in the shooting world as well.
He's a phenomenal shooter.
Phenomenal shooter, Ben Christian, and her goal, Christine, she told me for this tournament was just not to shoot a 5, and she accomplished the goal, and then she finds herself in the shoot down.
Because I tell you what, it was easy to find 5s this weekend.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Very easy. All right, so we're looking in the middle part of our screen. There's Erin McGlattery, and now she has someone holding an umbrella. You can see Emily McCarthy for Kaylee Johnston. What's that all about?
Well, honestly, right now the light is pretty good because we don't have really strong sun and we don't have wind, but the umbrellas are going to cut down on glare on on the scope lenses, or if they have glass in their peep aperture.
Yeah, clarifier. There's our second place qualifier.
Erin just shot an amazing 2 rounds this weekend, coming off of a really good performance in the IBO as well.
Looks like McGlattery with a 10.
On the bless buck there. Yep.
She spent the last several days last week actually at Darren Christianberry's house shooting targets.
Oh, yeah.
Getting ready for this competition. Ooh. One for the 14 ring on the taper. She gets an 8, so that was Laura on that one.
So it sounds like she's being really aggressive. She's got nothing to lose.
Absolutely.
I've been there. I understand that.
Just going for it.
That's right.
Seeing if she can just work her way up the ladder a little bit.
That's right. Easier said than done. It can be a little heart pounding once you're up there. Nice.
Cara Kelly with a 12. So 442.
I think it's going to be really difficult for Erin to catch Cara with such a hot start.
McGlattery with the 10. Moving over to Kaylee Johnston on that Howling Wolf.
A 12 for Kaylee Johnston. Moves her to 424.
12.
And holding on to a good.
So now 10 points behind. So hold on to that third spot.
She just fell a little bit short here on the turkey for Lindsay. A little underjudged.
So an 8 for Lindsay Christensen. There's a good look at the prime shooter. So they've had an opportunity to judge yardage earlier before we get to this point. So when Lindsay's looking down range, is she looking at yardage or is she looking at where to shoot the animal? Like, what do you think she's doing at that point?
My guess would be that she's looking for both, and she's reassessing where, what her next numbers are going to be based on how she's hit the last couple of targets. She's going to adjust if she needs to. So she judged the turkey a little cold. Now she's moving on down to the first target, which is the taper. Again, that one looks pretty close. So she's got to decide if she needs to add a couple yards onto her judge.
Very interesting day. Broken clouds. Now for a moment the sun kind of peeks out, so umbrellas needed more than ever.
Definitely, and it does help. You can experience a lot of lefts and rights potentially from the glare on a scope lens. Oh, and on, let's see.
Taper looks like a solid 10.
Yep, Lindsay got a 10.
In her first year as an ASA pro out of Weston, Idaho.
She's had a good start.
She's definitely working for it. One of the other shooters that we saw come in this class who shoots a lot of the world archery stuff, Linda Ochoa Anderson, who isn't here this weekend because of another tournament commitment, but those two spending a lot of time together.
They're in the same neck of the woods, right?
Yeah.
So they're kind of teaming up and traveling and trying to get in front of targets together, which I think is great. It's great to have a partner. And it's the cool thing about women's pros. They don't work against each other typically. You know, they're all working and rooting each other on and supporting one another, even in training.
Cara Kelly, our leader with the 10.
And she's looking just as happy and as comfortable as she can be.
She really had a good couple days on the range.
A 10 for Erin.
Erin McGlattery with the 10. So no movement there. All right, so what we're looking at right now, let's just say that that was the 5th arrow shot. So if we have, you know, Cara Kelly and Erin McGlattery at 10 is the difference.
Correct.
They would shoot that 6th arrow,
That's
so it needs to be 11 or more.
I believe so. So Erin would be the only person close enough to be able to do that 6th arrow shoot off with Cara.
Bottom of your screen, new graphics we're providing for you here. You can see that last arrow value that we got and the total points scored so far.
That's great. That helps when you're watching at home to follow what's going on.
So if you're watching on a third screen device like a very small cell phone, maybe, I don't know, an iPhone 4, Cara Kelly at 452, Erin McGlattery at 442, Haley Johnston at a 429, Christensen at a 21, and Chenault at a 407. So things hold steady is the way they came in for the moment.
All right, what target is Cara shooting? And then Aaron, I think Aaron's on the turkey.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Carr's on the Howling Wolf, I believe, on target number 4.
She saved a 10. Now we're waiting for Aaron to shoot. He had the turkey. And she went for the 14, but unfortunately she missed. It's an 8-5 liner.
Love the aggressive shooting from Erin McGlattery.
Honestly, though, I'm surprised that she was that aggressive. I wouldn't have called it.
Even on one that looks that close, you think, if being 10 points?
I wouldn't have called her shooting at so many of the 14s or any of them. It didn't seem like it was a necessary play.
Lindsay Christensen with a 12. Great shot.
6 points behind Kaylee in the 3rd place positioning.
Christensen trying to make some moves with arrows running out here. So this should be the final arrow, right? That's already 4. So Cara Kelly will move to position number 5. She started in 1 after this scoring round.
On the target placement.
On target placement. Yeah, not on score.
Yeah.
Definitely not on
I
score.
didn't want them to get confused.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for that.
I really can't tell you how strong shooting up on these past 2 days. Uphill on day 1, the judging was very tricky, and then today with the weather, the dark holes and everything we had. So for those ladies who came into this, I believe it was Cara, Aaron, and Kaylee who shot up, I mean, hats off. That was really great shooting.
I look at McGlattery's release. I mean, the shot technically from where we're sitting looked great.
She's a very strong shooter. Steady, strong, and she's got a heck of a long draw length. She's the envy of all women here with draw length. I think she shoots over 300 feet per second in another organization, and she doesn't have to do anything to meet speed here at ASA.
The Canadian from Saskatchewan, obviously shooting Mathews, her 3rd year as a pro. She was 3rd here in 2018, was Erin McGlattery, looking to better that one with an aggressive play, trying to get that 14, ended up with a 5. So now you can see that the margin started to gap a little bit on this arrow. This might be it in terms of...
It very well could be, because the spread is great enough that I think Cara is on her own up there with a 462.
So if Christensen, who we're watching right now, wants to make a move, it's 14 or nothing at this point.
That's right.
She lets it fly.
And she just does not have enough yardage on there. And then Cara, good gracious, she shot that turkey, and I believe she got the 12. So she's just out of there. Everyone can say good night. She took 1st place this tournament. Great for her. And then Aaron let down, which you don't see very often, but we do have a clock out here now, which I think is great. A minute is an eternity when you only have 1 arrow to shoot, so that's no big deal that she let down. Good for her for taking a second.
Yeah. 18 seconds on the 16 now. So
plenty of time.
She went for the 14. Did she pull that line? That's the question.
Gosh, we can't see the line from here. It sure looks close. She's not real sure either, but she's having a good laugh about it.
All right, so the target number 1, which is that taper. They call a 14, so she pulled it. That'll move her to 461.
I'm just saying, by the look on her face, I was thinking maybe that was a fortuitous mistake.
Good way to wrap this one up, though, and of course,
great.
As long as Cara Kelly scored a 10 or better, this one will be over, because it should be a 12-point advantage at least.
Looks like
or 11-point advantage, sorry.
Well, Cara's no stranger to this, but she just knows when it's your weekend, it's your weekend. I'm pretty sure she knew it was her weekend. And by the looks of her scoring here on the shoot down.
Bingo. 12 for Laura.
Nice. Laura finished up strong with a 12 on the Howling Wolf.
Definitely. So now we go to Cara Kelly, who, even without scoring this arrow, well, she would be the leader, and they'd have to go to a shoot-off if this arrow didn't score, but it certainly did, and that 12 will wrap it up for Cara Kelly. Cara Kelly, the outright winner in this one.
So deserving.
And the 2019 Mathews Pro-Am champ here in London, Kentucky for the women's pro class. After a phenomenal weekend of shooting, Cara Kelly comes in with a 4-point advantage, and she'll walk away with a 474 to Erin McGlattery's 461. And then we will get to hear from Cara Kelly as she will make our way over to PJ to have a quick conversation. Her favorite part of the day, to talk to our very own PJ Riley. I don't know where he's taking her here. Here we go. Take it away, PJ.
All right, Cara Kelly. Boy, you came out of the gate smoking there. Tell me about that shoot down.
Oh, I don't know. I had the numbers right, and the pin was sitting on them, so I thought my husband wanted me to aim at him, so I'm going to aim at him.
It seemed like that was working for you all weekend. I mean, you just had a killer score. Tell me about the weekend and then coming into this.
You know, I just made good decisions. It was a really, really hard range, and I really managed the course well and made really good decisions and aimed at a lot of them and got aggressive. Erin shot a fantastic round today, and I knew I had to get aggressive. And so she shot great, and I just kept pushing with her. So, yeah, it was a great weekend.
All right, Cara, congratulations. Great win.
Thank you so much.
All right, so Cara Kelly will take another win in 2019. And a great effort from her. So Cara, her second, Fort Benning, and now here. So the stage has been set for the next of our classes. We'll take a break. On the other side, we'll continue with some more shooting as the senior pros will line up to throw some arrows downrange in London, Kentucky.
This is how we like to do it.
Welcome to the second shoot down for this afternoon, the 2019 Mathews Pro-Am here in London, Kentucky. This is the Senior Pro Shoot Down. Your fifth place qualifier, shooting for Martin, from Vinton, Virginia, Richard Leftwich. Your fourth place qualifier, from Atala, Alabama, shooting a 402 with 10 bonus rings, shooting for Martin, Ellen Connor. From Keller, Texas, shooting for PSE, a 404 with 10 bonus rings, Michael Braden. Your second place qualifier, from Columbus, North Carolina, shooting for Mathews, a 406 with 12 bonus rings, Bill McCall. And your number one qualifier, shooting for Botech, a 420 with 14 bonus rings, from Provo, Utah, Tim Gillingham.
Well, Christine Harrelson, Greg White joining you here. Tim Gillingham walks his way to the field, and since joining this class after our first round in Foley, Tim Gillingham has won 2 of 3, Christine, and he has been really a shock to the system, I think, in the senior pro class.
That's one way to put it. Oh, gracious. He's always been a strong shooter. So it's not exactly a surprise that he's doing well in senior pro.
And let's talk about Shooter of the Year. We talked about it at the top of the show. Where do we sit in Shooter of the Year for the senior pro class?
Tim Gillingham has a pretty hefty lead with 25 over the second place person, which is Michael Braden. But now between Michael Braden and Tony Taza, who is in second, there's a much narrower gap, and that could be the difference between just one single shoot, because that's only 12 points right now.
Mm-hmm. And for Shooter of the Year here in ASA competition for the senior pro class, $5,000 for the winner, $3,000 for second, and $2,000 for third. So there is money on the line, but more the prestigiousness of saying that you're 2019 Shooter of the Year.
Everybody's here to win.
Everybody's here to win. You can see Tim Gillingham's lead in this one. So we'll see if anybody's going to get aggressive and try to close the gap. There's a look at Leftwich. Richard Leftwich, 21 years as a pro.
It's a long time to be playing this game.
He's 2003 ASA Classic champion. Richard Leftwich. All right, so first one going for a 12. They're taking a closer look at that one.
I think it's going to be just out unless he's got some kind of magic line pull. But we can't see it. You just never know.
No.
You can see that it's bent, but is it touching?
10. Yep,
Just
good
off.
call, Christine. So for Tim, he goes aggressive, going for that 12. Why not if he feels like he's got a good judge?
I couldn't imagine him doing anything else, honestly.
Now, Christine, with the shooters that we have, Tim Gillingham, Billy McCall, who's got a 10, Michael Braden, Alan Connor, and Richard Leftwich, there's a mix of how people judge. We talk about ground judging and we talk about target or animal judging.
That's right.
Describe those two for us real quick.
Some people will step up to the stake, look up, straight at the target, and then bam, that's going to give them a feeling, that's going to give them a number. Let's say that number is 50 yards, and they go bam, 50. Then they might even use the ground to second that judge and say, okay, there's 10 yards. Okay, that's where I think 20 yards, and there's 25. Is it really double that? And they'll use both, and some people will just use the ground and very little of the target itself.
Part of the challenge we have in these first 3 pro classes, the women's pro, the senior pro, which we're watching now, and of course men's pro coming up after this one. Now, Christine, what is your preferred method of doing it?
I look up at the target and I get my initial judge. That's usually the best one, and then I verify by using the ground. But keeping in mind, with something like today, it was very dark. You can see the ground, but everything's going to look a bit farther away than normal, so you have to keep that in mind when judging.
So in this class, judging it, I can tell you today that the seniors were on a very difficult range. It was very dark on the side of the range that they were on. So Tim Gillingham, I think, to be able to shoot 14 12s says a lot about the level that he's shooting right now.
He has years of experience, but he's got years of practice under his belt too, so he knows where the scoring rings are. He doesn't have to see them. He already knows where they are.
Bill McCall, Columbus, North Carolina, 24 years as a pro.
And lucky to be alive, and we're happy to see him here.
Absolutely.
I don't think it was but a couple years ago when he had his accident falling from a tree, and he was in the hospital for a very long time. A lot of people didn't think he was even going to make it. So
yeah, that was 2017.
That's incredible.
And 6 months after falling 40 feet out of that tree, he won ASA Foley. So
there were tears in eyes I assure you, that day.
Such a good dude. A lot of fun to be around.
Like someone hit the same hole. That is so close. Ugh, just off.
That's a heartbreaker. right there. But you can see no line was pulled. Oftentimes in ASA archery, when we're looking at 3D, we talk about pulled lines. Tell us about that.
I would love to clarify that. The arrow is tacky. Almost everyone's shooting a carbon arrow. It pulls the foam or the rubber as it goes into the target, and that visible line, whether it's 12 or 10 or 14 line, can distort. Now, you do not get the higher value unless the line is touching the arrow. It has to be touching. So there's no pulling it and it got real close. That doesn't get the points, okay? It has to be touching.
Billy McCall, big cheers from the crowd after that 12. So McCall trying to make some moves, if he can, on Tim Gillingham.
And the wind is just picking up, so even if you have the perfect yardage, it doesn't mean you're going to hit the ring.
Well, that's the other thing that's really tricky about this course, I think, Christine, is the fact that the wind is coming in, but it's not necessarily coming in from a direction that's definable.
Right.
Feels like it's swirling a little bit, doesn't it?
It is, and then it just dies. But you can be at full draw, and you feel just a little bit of push and knock you off your aiming spot. That's not a lot of fun.
A lot of 12s we saw in that round. There's a look at Tim Gillingham and his shot process and what he's up against. You can see the ease of that release. And you want to talk about Erin McGladdery and her draw length. Forget about it.
Then you've got Tim Gillingham on the other side. I mean, what does he shoot, like a 600 grain arrow? I mean.
Yeah, that's right, because he gets to, you know, it's speed here in ASA competition. I mean, there's a speed limit.
There is.
And so when you have that kind of draw length can really help with your speed. Longer draw length, everything being the same, faster arrow speed, which means he's got to slow it down somehow.
That's right.
He's either got to start cranking out poundage on those limbs, or like you're saying, just
what
load
a
up the
burden
front.
that must be.
Yeah,
oh, poor guy. Gotta shoot a heavy arrow.
Yeah, well, I gotta shoot a heavy arrow.
And there goes our backdrop with the wind. So that picked up. But he sure looks steady on camera to me. Oh, and there's wind gusts coming through here, guys. If they let down, I would not be surprised.
Tim went for it. He went for
did.
it. If he called
Upper
upper,
12.
he got it.
You see Michael Braden now. He's trying to stay on target, no doubt. Yep, and he decides to let down. That was a good call. They still have 30 seconds left on the clock, so he's got time to reset. Like I said, if they start letting down, it's just probably a great idea. Oh, and look at him. He just, whew.
He gave a little bit of English, but it looks like he got it.
Yeah.
If he didn't call the upper, that upper and
this
lower
is
12.
Michael's second draw. And it looks like he's just short on the turkey.
That might have been a judge. Now, we're looking up in the sky, Christine, and there's just crazy clouds here. So not only did it just get windy for a moment, now it's completely still.
I know.
But it kind of has that feeling that there's a little bit of moisture somewhere in the air here.
That's right.
So trying to avoid some of this this rain could be critical. All right, so.
Nice.
So Alan Connor, lower 12, gets it. And again, once we get to this fifth arrow, if Tim Gillingham has a lead that's over, or anyone has a lead over 10 points, they'll be declared the outright champ. But if someone's within 10 points, we're going to go to a sixth arrow, which to me, Christine, as we look on the field off camera here, kind of looks like it might be a javelina.
That's what it looks like. It's laying down over by the fence line. And that is nobody's favorite. I don't know anybody who gets on the course and says, yeah, I hope I get to shoot the javelina in the shoot down.
All right, so Bill McCall with a 10. Yeah, there's the javelina. So that it's leaned over on its side now just in case they need to use it. I almost guarantee, I'm not guaranteeing, but I almost guarantee when we get to the known pro category with the 2-point lead in that one, we're probably going to see that javelina come into play.
Not only that, I mean, it can come out here in the next shoot down, which is Open Pro.
No doubt. Michael Braden.
Now he took his time. He let down.
Settles into that anchor point. You can see he used a four-fletched arrow.
That's right.
Just a choice.
Right. It's just personal preference. If you feel like you get more stability on a 4-fletch versus a 3.
You can see he wasn't happy with that one. Tim Gillingham called the upper 12. I just saw him motion.
Got it.
So Tim on the right-hand part of your screen with the Bowtech jersey on towers over the rest of the field on this one. How tall is Tim? I would say he's probably 6'5".
I don't know.
6'5", 6'6". But he has quite the wingspan.
He does, and he's up on the turkey now, I believe, one of the shorter targets.
Always a smile on Bill McCall's face. Those close to him call him Billy. Gave me permission this
Shooting
weekend.
great.
Calling Billy.
That right there, I believe, was Tim's. Look at the turkey. Oh, and he went for the 14 and got it.
Wow, good shot.
Now, was that Michael Braden? Or
Yeah, I think that was Michael Braden on one.
And he got it, I think.
He did.
What a shot.
That can be a bit of a tricky shot, especially when you have those other two marks there. So he did a great job to ignore it.
I'm going to have to say that it was probably an advantage for him to, at least he had some markers in the white.
He knew exactly where they were.
To aim off certain arrow holes can be actually an assistance. Oh, that's too bad. Now we have someone going for the 14 on the blessed buck.
Yep, that was Connor, by the way.
Okay.
Leftwich.
He just had a little too much on his judge, but broke a great shot.
Yep, so that'll be a 5 for Leftwich, who was trying to make a move. Trying to work his way up into that 4th place spot.
It's just a little closer than he thought.
And it's Tim Gillingham on the Howling Wolf. And a 12. Continues to pull away.
Gracious.
Okay, and Tim decided not to shoot the last arrow.
We heard jokingly, we're not sure, that Tim's decided not to shoot the last arrow. Is this true or not?
Well, Tim's currently getting heckled from the crowd to shoot the 14.
Why not,
He's got
right?
a big smile on his face.
Here's Bill McCall, the North Carolina resident, on his release.
He took an aim at the turkey and he hit that 12.
And
Great shot, and you see it.
He loved it.
Yeah.
All right, so Tim Gillingham is on the 5th target, which is just off camera on the right part of your screen. The crowd was
still heckling
him, telling him, go for the 14, go for the 14. The 14 on the turkey, Christine, not the easiest 14 on the field.
No, absolutely not. It's black. It's tiny. The actual 14 ring itself is very, very small.
But Gillingham right now has a grin on his grill that I can see from here.
He does.
Something you often see in the senior pro class, shooters putting on glasses to make sure that they check out their marks are good.
Turning binos around.
All right, that's a good pro tip right there.
There you go.
For the known pro older, it's the rangefinder. Just turn that thing around. All right, so
there's
take
a
a look at Bill
lot
McCall.
of chatter on the field right now. They're having a great time. Look at this. Take a look at the crowd. They're having a good time watching this shoot down.
There he is, the big
Tim.
stairs, Tim, with a big smile on his face. Obviously with a monumental lead, 16 points at this point.
He's doing math. He's considering it. He's finding his aiming spot.
They're trying to goad him into it.
They are.
So if he goes for the 14 and shoots a 5.
And look at him right now. Look what he was doing. Did you see him moving his head from side to side? He was marking spots on the grass, so he was looking at yardage on the ground, double checking what his yardage on this target.
Your would-be champ, Tim Gillingham, going for it. Does he go?
Oh, what a flinch! But listen, he does it. He can.
Did he pull that line?
He went for it. Oh my gosh!
Energizing the crowd, Tim Gillingham. That's very typical, by the way, that flinch.
I'm 90% sure he got
pulled
it at 11 o'clock, the 14 ring at 11 o'clock. Because, when you have a 600 grain arrow and it's 27,
McCall in with a 10. So it's time to score these arrows and see how they did. And the drama to build to if Tim Gillingham won with a 480.
Right.
Or not.
This is good fun for the crowd, though.
It's great
I love
fun.
This.
Yep, a 10 for Bill McCall. That'll take him to 460. The closest, obviously, to Tim Gillingham, so Tim didn't have to shoot that last arrow. And Michael Braden with a 10. That'll move him to 53. Alan Connor is trying to go for that 12.
Looks a little short from here. I'm not sure. Oh, that might be good. Let's see.
Don with the call. That's a 12.
And by rule, he now has 13 bonus rings and breaks the tie with Michael Brace, your 3rd place finisher, by 1 bonus ring.
All right, so what we're hearing is that Connor actually has more bonus rings, which will break a 3rd place tie, because Braden had a 10 and Connor had a 12, so that would take them both to 53. So Connor will actually move up in this one. And
look at the close-up on the turkey on Tim's final shot. I think that looks like it. I think he broke that line.
There's not even a question. Here we go. It's a 14 for Tim Gillingham. Puts the stamp on it.
Yeah.
The crowd dictating the shot that Tim Gillingham takes. And he will be crowned the Senior Pro 2019 Mathews Pro-Am Champion.
In style.
In style. Wow, Christine. I just felt the gust of wind that came blowing through here. That was cold air.
It was. That means we've got a system coming our way.
So Tim Gillingham is with our PJ Riley, so let's get it to PJ.
Tim, they talked you into that 14 and you delivered.
Well, I was going to do it anyway. I had nothing to lose, so you might as well entertain, right?
They're chanting here, listen to them.
I just didn't want to choke.
Well, tell me about the weekend. I mean, yesterday you were at the bottom of the leaderboard, and then today you just blew up.
Yeah, I was 4 targets to go yesterday, and I was still only 2 up, and just trying to be patient, and it just wasn't happening. I'd either misjudge by 3 or miss a shot, and I made a release switch last night, and I don't know. I just had a little bit of issues. I shot a couple zeros in tournaments with the release, and just not real comfortable on it, and that kind of let me relax a little bit today. And even at the half when they broke, I was still only 6 up today, but I had regained the lead at 12 up. And then I just come out after the break when the rain cleared and hit 4 out of 5. So that put me in a good commanding position. It's always nice coming into the shoot-off with that. And then you just hope you got the yardage right. And I just come out here, and I don't know, I just looked at every target, and I felt like I had them. So.
All right, Tim, congrats. Great win, and your 3rd ASA win of the year.
All right, thank you.
All right, congratulations to Tim Gillingham, of course, who is going to be our Shooter of the Year leader as we head into the final round of competition, the Classic, coming up here in about 5 weeks' time. All right, with a good look at Richard Leftwich and his release, we're going to take a break. On the other side, we're going to come back with one of the top classes here, Men's Pro, Levi Morgan, the only repeat shoot-down shooter for 2019, entered in this one. You don't want to miss it.
This is how we like to do it.
Welcome to the Men's Pro Shootdown here at the Mathews, London, Kentucky Pro-Am. This is an all Mathews sweep for the Shootdown this afternoon. Your 5th place qualifier, shooting a .413 with 14 bonus rings, from Harrisville, Pennsylvania, Jason Bennett. Your fourth place qualifier, a 416 with 11 bonus rings, from Van Buren Township, Michigan, Shane Bragg. Your third place qualifier, a 418 with 12 bonus rings, from Lynchburg, Virginia, Brandon Reyes. Your second place qualifier, a 422 with 14 bonus rings, from Lancaster, South Carolina, Andy Calloway. And your number one qualifier this afternoon, a 428 with 17 bonus rings, from Uniontown, Pennsylvania, Levi Morgan.
All right, Christine Harrelson, Greg White here for the men's pro category. Levi Morgan, the only shooter I mentioned before the break that has been in a shoot down this season, but none of these shooters, not one of them, has won in 2019. In the men's pro class, it was Kenny Lance who won round one, Danny McCarthy won back-to-backs, and then Jack Wallace in Augusta. So this could be where Levi, breaks the streak, I guess you could say. I mean, 12-time shooter of the year, Levi Morgan. At the moment, Christine, Dan McCarthy is 22 points ahead of Levi after we've done the drop, meaning your worst tournament gets dropped, so 4 count, heading into the final.
That's right.
So 19 points made up today by Levi Morgan on Dan McCarthy in shooter of the year. So 22 possible for next one. We're going to find that out in about 5 weeks' time. So here's Levi Morgan, arguably the most decorated ASA archer of all time.
Absolutely.
And he starts off with a good one. So a 12.
I mean, are you surprised?
Not really.
No.
He just has the confidence right now. Brandon Reyes. So first one will be scored. If you're just joining our coverage, the first target is the taper or the tapir. 12 for Levi Morgan. The next one's going to be that big deer that's downrange. Christina and I know the distances, but we're not telling until we get to the next class.
It looks farish. That's all I'll say about that.
It's farish.
It's not the closest one. I mean, the deer is farish.
It's farish for sure.
Yep. So it's a little bit tricky for Andy to get started on the farthest one because you're trying to gauge just how you're judging, and you sometimes are hoping for a closer one to get warmed up on.
That was Andy Calloway who shot that one. This one will be Brandon Reyes on the Blessed Buck, and we'll move over to the Howling Wolf. There's Reyes, good shot at him. This is Shane Bragg. Bragg in his 4th year as a pro. He's had 1 4th place finish to his credit, so his first opportunity. He's in 4th currently, so an opportunity for him to try to, it's so close in this class.
It is. Right now we're looking at Jason Bennett's shot. He was a little bit short on the turkey, unfortunately.
So 5 for Jason.
But great to see him back up in this company. He's a young shooter, obviously very, very talented. This is not his first shoot down.
Levi Morgan in what a lot have deemed as the pure release. So much strength in how he does that. And Andy Calloway also at full draw. You can see how steady they hold.
It looks like we've paused the video, but we haven't.
Yeah, I know, right? So back to the field of play, live shots.
Andy's calling upper.
And so if you're just joining us as well, all the shooters move over to the right until they run out of spots, and then they move from 5 to 1. So Levi Morgan has moved over to the second target.
And the wind has picked up again, knocking some things over and probably making them feel a little unsteady at full draw. And what you're seeing is Brandon, and Dan is holding the umbrella for him, and he's paying real close attention about where he holds that umbrella, whether it's wind or if it's for light.
This shows you how great it is to have someone with that kind of experience holding an umbrella for you, being very aware of it. The shot clock 1 minute. Ooh,
oh my goodness, another.
That's got to pull that line. Dawn with the call,
it
14.
Does.
So Jason Bennett now with a 432.
He made up a little bit, didn't he, on that one?
He certainly did. So this will be Levi Morgan.
Maybe just outside the 12?
I think so, which would be a nice 10.
Yep, safe.
Yeah, or what a lot of people in golf would call par. So as we look at 3D archery, when we look at the 20 targets, a 200 is really that zero benchmark. So we oftentimes would say plus or minus depending on where you are in the 200 rank.
That's right. And I don't think Levi was probably terribly happy with getting a 10 because he had the right yardage. He shot just a little off to the right, but that's about the time the wind was kicking up too.
So Levi Morgan's going to have 450. Andy Callaway is coming in at a 442. Brandon Reyes with a 12. That's going to move him to 440. So now Brandon's within 2 of Callaway and Shane Bragg.
Shane looks like he's got a solid 12 there.
Yep, you nailed it, Christine. So a 12.
And now look what we have. Sun.
Yeah.
Glaring
This
sun.
is crazy in terms of conditions, the inconsistency.
Yeah.
So it's Morgan at a 450. You have a 42 for Callaway, a 40 for Reyes. You have a 438 for Shane and a 432. So only 4 points separate second from third at the moment.
The temperatures just went up about 15 degrees. Now everybody's blinded out there. They're trying to judge. They're trying to find their aiming spot.
And where the sun is too, Christine, it's kind of making those targets backlit. Like you can see on, say, top of the shoulders, they're a glare, but on the front of the target, it gets kind of dark in a way.
It does. It does. So now we're going to see everyone holding for sun versus wind because that's died down a little bit.
Oh, going for the 14.
Another 14 play on the taper. Oh, it looks like there was another one on the HD that didn't make it.
There's a look at the sun and exactly the position it's in. You can see the glare on your television screen.
Ooh, looks like it could be just out. Can't tell from here.
And the glare, of course.
Yeah, they're looking real hard though.
Ooh, man, that is a close one. Again, we talk about pulling lines, and it just has to tug that line a little bit. Don't know if it did. It's going to be an 8.
Ah, it's too bad. But Shane went for it.
Yep. So that was Shane Bragg who took that shot. Who's had 1 4th place finish. Obviously shooting a Mathews, also True Ball XL Gold Tip and Bee Stinger.
For Levi Morgan, our leader.
Levi Morgan.
Upper 12 was called.
Levi called the upper 12 and he got the 10. There's part of what you were looking at there, Christine, I think, right?
Yep.
So that'll keep Levi on the zeros, a 460. That's 2 10s in a row for Levi.
Andy was going, I believe, for upper, but I think he probably just pulled off a not so great shot because he went out to the left a little bit. I'm sure he's not real happy with that.
So Callaway had it within 8 points. Now he's dropped to 10 from Levi.
But he has more targets. He's got the turkey up next.
Brandon Reyes in with a 12. That's going to move him to a 452. So he'll now occupy second spot and within 8 of Levi Morgan. Now you start to ask yourself some questions. Do I just go for it? Do I start shooting at 14s and give up second place? Do I hold on to it? So Brandon Reyes now with a lot of decisions to be made for the Virginia native. All right, here we go.
And let's see, what target is Brandon on now? Has he come around to the taper, I believe, and that is one of the shorter shots? It's, you know, that you've seen everyone else going for 14s on that particular target. It's marked up pretty good, so I can't wait to see if he's going to go for the 14.
Brandon Reyes left part of your screen. Christine's talking about that tapier. Target number 1. Levi lets it fly on the Howling
Safe
Wolf.
10. We've got a 12 possibly on the turkey, a solid 14 on the Blessed Buck on our third target.
Wow.
I believe Brandon could have that 12. He went safe, and that's not a bad thing. And he
gets
did
it.
Get it.
He gets a 12. So Reyes with another move. That's going to move him to 464. Steely-eyed look Just as cool as he could be. Shane Bragg at 10. 456.
But look at this. What do we have here? On the Bless Buck, 14. I mean, it's definitive.
Yeah, there's no question on
Great
this
shot.
one.
Wow.
Jason Bennett with a 14.
Way to go. How
that
old
our-
is
was-
Jason? He's a young guy.
That's a good question. That's the one thing I don't have information-wise on these cards. He is 4th year as a pro. Jason Bennett, he was 2017 Fort Benning Men's Pro Champ. 3rd place in 2016 in Illinois. So it's been a couple of years since we've seen him on the podium, but he's trying to make some moves from 5th spot.
Mm-hmm. Nice 12
So
on the
12 for
turkey.
Callaway.
Mm-hmm.
So Levi Morgan, 470.
There's the young buck there on screen. That's Jason Bennett.
Mhm.
And I'm sure his parents are nervously awaiting out in this crowd somewhere.
Good look at our scoreboard. So Morgan with a 470, Callaway at a 62. Brandon Reyes now within 6 points of Levi at a 46. Shane at a 56, and Jason with that 14 closes right up.
Mm-hmm.
It's a horse race. So obviously,
Andy hasn't made a call for upper on taper, so it makes me wonder if he's going to get aggressive and go for the 14. I know he can hit it, and he knows he can hit it, and it's marked up, but we'll see.
what's Levi Morgan going to do?
Let's see. What target is Levi on?
Levi's going to be on the turkey. Last time we saw the first place
Would
or the
it-
leader shoot at the turkey.
What certainly wouldn't surprise me if he went for a 14 because he can do it, but
Looks
he
like
didn't.
he went for the middle, and Brandon Reyes goes
He
back
went
to
for the
full
12 and he got it. Levi did. Looks like the top of it, but Brandon is resetting and going for one of the longer targets. That's the HD deer. Oh, great shot for Brandon. That's a 12. You saw that on screen just now.
That's going to keep him within striking distance of Levi Morgan. So
He's shooting great.
Mm-hmm.
And guess what? Andy did go for the 14. Take a look.
And
he got
it.
Way to go, Andy.
So that'll mean that Callaway and Reyes should be tied after we score officially at 76. Depends on what Levi had. We'll find out in a moment. Levi is kind of, looking at that target, 12 or 10. We don't know for sure. But Reyes can confirmation on that 12. Yeah, tied for second, 476.
Look at that.
Reyes has made some
Donut
moves.
14 for
14.
Shane. I mean,
Shane wasn't letting Jason Bennett catch him. He
Yeah.
didn't want that at all. So that would move Bragg to a 470. And for Jason Bennett, the second, by the way, an 8. So 462. So that'll be a 5th place finish for Bennett. Now we got to find out after this call for Levi Morgan who is within 10 points that will go to that
looks
6th
like
arrow.
an awfully pretty 12 at 12 o'clock.
Don's flipping those cards around. It is a 12. Levi with a little fist bump. All right, so that'll move him to 482.
So
That mean-
now,
yep.
do we have 3 guys in the 6th arrow?
Officially, we have 3 because that'll move Shane Bragg into 4th. That'll leave him there. Jason Bennett into 5th. So the podium has yet to be decided on this one between Levi Morgan, Andrew Callaway, and Brandon Reyes, as they are going to.
Lots of handshakes while they're waiting to get that javelina set up, which they've picked up, and they're going to find a spot for that and set up a stake for them as well.
Brandon Reyes, fist bump on that one, knowing that he got that 12.
Mm-hmm.
So as these shooters get their arrows back, the question is, as we look out onto the field, where are they going to put the javelina? There it is. Where's the decision? Is he going to move close? Is he going to move far away?
They put it in I would say a random spot, so not where another target was or is, and they also put the shooting stake at a new spot too.
Coin flip, I think, is what we're going to do to determine who's going to shoot in terms of the tie for.
Yeah, I've not seen that before. I've
think
never
so.
seen them toss a coin.
Yeah. So what we saw off camera is they still decide where they're going to put that javelina. I believe it was a
Okay.
coin flip to decide who's going to shoot 3rd, 2nd. We know Levi will shoot last.
highest scorer gets the advantage of going last. So that way he can make his play and make his decision about where he's going to aim and shoot.
Christine Harrelson, you're a women's pro. You've been in the shoot-downs before. I know we're not on the field to play, but just give me yardage. Go ahead and judge that for me. She's looking at me, folks, like...
You know what's disturbing me is that it is completely flush to me, which means it is really hard quartered away from the guys when they shoot. So that's not awesome for them, but...
What does quartered away mean exactly for those people that are new to archery?
So you aren't perfectly perpendicular or looking straight on to the broadside of the target. Instead, the nose is facing away from you, quartering away.
And they're not going to be shooting from the positions that they've already shot from. You can see that
That's right.
Those areas where they're shooting that are marked are now empty. So they put a stake in the ground. You can see the number 6, the bottom of the feet. So they're having their time.
Sorry, they've backed the stake a good ways back away from the original shooting stakes.
So giving them a little bit better of an angle, not necessarily, like you're saying, completely head on. It looks like it's quartered away, but not as dramatically had they been at one of the shooting stakes that we've seen.
Right. You know, because it's not hard enough to shoot the javelina.
Of course it's not.
So why not quarter it?
And at the moment, the sun is behind the clouds, so even lighting, and the wind is negligible at this point.
Sure, this is ideal. If it'll stay this way, it's ideal for these guys.
What makes the javelina so difficult, Christine?
You know, I think it's his size, and he doesn't always have consistent, what I call hash marks. You know, you see the white spots on the javelina, and they aren't always in the same spot. So it might be a little bit different from the one that you practice on at home. You're used to aiming at a particular dark spot or light spot, you know, and it might not be the same here. So it takes a little extra study, which they're doing. You can see Andy up there right now. He's going to be first up.
So Andy Calloway in a tie for second place currently at 476 points. What does the confident Calloway have in store for us right now?
How many points did you say he was off from first?
Behind from first, he is 8 points. 6 points.
I can barely make out the 14 ring from here. It is tiny. He doesn't go for it. He actually ends up with a center shot.
So that'll be 10 points for him. So yeah, off the lead, he and Brandon Reyes are 6 points off the lead.
Okay.
As I do my rudimentary math. So it's 476 to 482. So Andrew Calloway scored with a 10. That'll move him to 486. So for the moment, obviously he takes a 4-point lead over the rest of the field because no one else has shot. So Brandon Reyes now has the ability to, I've heard rumors of these archers being so good at judging distance that sometimes listening to the arrow flight can make a difference.
Especially when you, so there are speed maxes per class, and these guys are all probably shooting max for their class, so they have a good idea of what that arrow sounds like, how long it takes to get to a target. So that is definitely the advantage of the person who's shooting last or who gets to hear at least one arrow. There's plenty of times when you hear someone else shoot and you go, wow, that got there a lot faster than I thought it would, and you start taking yardage off your sight.
So
and then there
Brandon
goes
Reyes,
Brandon,
he
and
lets it go.
He knew exactly how far it was. He was just left, and he's on the line of the 10 ring, straight left of the lower 12.
So this arrow call makes a difference of whether they're going to have to shoot off again.
Do they have the same bonus rings?
Yes. So 10.
So what you're looking at right now is Brandon and Andy. Do they have the exact same score?
They have 486. Levi Morgan has a 482. A 7, a 5 on this one, so all Levi has to do is just hit the target. A 5 will give him 7, and that's the outright win.
No, he's getting heckled a little bit too.
He is. He's got a little grin on his face.
And I'm not 100% sure, Greg, but I don't think you can leave it at a tie for the second place. Brandon and Andy are dead tied, so that means bonus rings as well as raw score.
So they're going to have
I
another
think they
arrow.
have to break that tie.
They are going to have to break that tie.
But right now,
I know you can't win on bonus rings in the shoot down. I'm not sure if it defines second and third place.
Right.
All right, here goes Levi Morgan. He just needs, as we say, to hit foam. He lets it go, and he went
That
for the
guy
14.
went for the
I like
14.
it. I like it.
I think he might just barely be out of. What a heck of a shot.
With a smile, Levi Morgan gets 5 points. I think we cannot even have to tell you that, but
I mean, you're kidding.
you're kidding me.
Oh, no.
Oh, an
okay.
8. All right. So a good solid 8 and a win for Levi Morgan. The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am and his first win of 2019 here in London, Kentucky, for the shooter trying to claw his way back into Shooter of the Year competition.
Okay, Greg, do you hear what they're talking about? Mike is on the mic right now. Now we have to break the tie between Andy and Brandon.
So Andy shot first.
So I think Mike said now we're going to flip the order. Since Andy had to shoot first on the last arrow, now Brandon's going to go first on this one. And it's a closest to center
And
shoot off between the two of them, because they have the same score, which I believe is 486, and they both have the same number of bonus rings, which are 12 rings, and they each have 16.
the question is, what target are they going to allow? So Don, you see in the middle part of your screen, is he going to make the big move? They're going to decide on the target, and
Well, he's picking up the mallet, so I think he's going to move it. They each have 1 minute to shoot this arrow, which again is an eternity, but you know, nerves might be high and wind might pick up, so it's nice to have a little extra few seconds.
This is solely based on dead center of the lower 12.
dead center of the lower 12 defines who will be second or third in this one. Closest to the center will be called second place.
And I can't tell you the last time I've seen this happen. This is rare.
I know that they used this format earlier today, not in the shoot-down area, obviously, but for the known pro class, there was a tie for 5th spot. And so they used
In
this
order to
method
get into
in
the
order to
shoot-down.
get into the shoot-down.
Mhm. And was it a closest to center as well?
It was closest to center in the 12 in the
Of the
12
lower
ring.
12 ring, gotcha.
And that went to Garrett Ayersman, who you'll hear about a little bit later on.
Okay.
Yep. All right, so looks like they're going to shoot the taper, doesn't it?
I think Brandon's probably asking Dan to hold the umbrella in a certain spot. He's got a little bit of light in front of him.
It looks like he's going to be teeing up on the taper just from the angle that we have here. From the same stake.
Yep, and he basically center punches it in the center of the 10. Andy's going to need to hit that 12.
All right, so the door is open.
It is.
For Andy Callaway. The safe play, if there is one, to go for second place is going to be a 12. Now, what Andy had told me before we got here, Christine, is he likes to call uppers.
Hold on 1 second, Greg. I just want to point out right now that they're measuring it with a pocket knife. This is not USA Archery or World Archery. We measure things here at the ASA with pocket knives.
So that's closest to the center, okay, to the 12 ring, that bottom 12 ring.
Right.
But Andy told me he likes to shoot uppers. So
he can shoot anything.
He
He
can
might
shoot
like
anything.
to shoot uppers,
Yep.
but he can hit this lower no problem. I
And
don't
that's
have
all
any
it was.
doubt.
Yep, and that's what's in play, just to
Mhm.
know. So all he's got to do, really, if he touches the line on the 12, it's a guarantee.
And we were both at the Shoot 25 a couple weekends ago, and he did an amazing job of shooting from the bottom of the shoot down all the way up to second place. It was incredible to watch. He can shoot.
For second place.
And he is closer. I'm going to say he might be even touching that 12.
Yeah. I don't think there's a question about whether that's closer to the center of that bottom. And you can see that's that bottom ring, so the center of that 12 ring. And, I mean, you can obviously see the shooter. So Andrew Callaway will be called second place. So it's going to be Levi Morgan, Andrew Callaway, and Brandon Reyes. 1, 2, 3, just the way they came in. Shane Bragg and Jason Bennett 4, 5.
And a Mathews sweep.
And a Mathews sweep. So it's time for PJ to get up with our winner, Levi Morgan.
Levi, this was a great weekend for you. Tell me about that shoot down first off.
Yeah, I mean, I had a pretty good lead going into this, but you never have enough. You know, I feel like I could have 20 points and I'd be worried about the guy behind me. So I knew I was going to have to hit a couple rings, and, you know, I pick and chose when I was aggressive out here, and I got lucky and hit those. And but the guys behind me, holy cow, they came on, and they never let you have it easy. So.
Well, tell me about the weekend now, because this is your first ASA win of the season, and this was domination by you from the start of the tournament.
Yeah, you know, I feel like I've been this close all year and just couldn't catch a break. And last weekend I won the IBO and I kind of broke the ice, and so I just came into here with a lot of confidence, and you know, I just had a lot of patience, which is what I've been lacking all year. And you know, I just prayed before the tournament God would just give me patience and give me a good attitude to deal with whatever the outcome was. And I just felt like I shot my bow easy, and it was a good weekend.
All right, congratulations, Levi. Great win.
Thank you very much.
All right, outstanding win by Levi Morgan, and he doesn't go winless in this year. He's still not out of it for Shooter of the Year, but a dominating performance this weekend. What a lot of people have seen from Levi Morgan in the past, and he is back. We're going to take a break. On the other side, we're going to get the stage set for the known pro and something different than we've seen so far, which the way they shoot. So, Christine, it's going to be exciting.
I can't wait.
Vince Lombardi once said, winning is not a sometime thing. It's an all-time thing. You don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. I've learned in my career I'm only as good as the tools I use.
12 for Levi Morgan.
One chance, one moment, one shot.
We don't build these bows to be different. We build them to be better. We're the outsiders, the mavericks, the fearless. We forge our own path. We're not chasing anyone, but we know what they're running from. It's an obsession, and the obsessed never rest.
Jimmy Clips? Yeah.
We're here for the fourth Shootdown this afternoon.
This will be the known pro Shootdown here at the Mathews ASA Shoot-Off in London, Kentucky. Your fifth place qualifier from Morgantown, West Virginia, with a 432 and 21 bonus rings. From Morgantown, West Virginia, Garrett Ersman. Your fourth place qualifier, shooting for elite a 434 with 21 bonus rings. From Mount Juliet, Tennessee, Chance Bobeth. Your third place qualifier, shooting for Mathews, a 440 with 22 bonus rings. From Millbrook, Alabama, Robert Householder. Your second place qualifier, shooting for Hoyt, a 442 with 21 bonus rings. From Creekside, Pennsylvania, David Hauser. And your number one qualifier this afternoon, a 442 with 23 bonus rings, shooting for Mathews. From Athens, Ontario, Canada, Chris Perkins.
Well, here we go. This is the known pro class, Christine, and looking at this one, of course it looks different because there are large range finders in this one, and the format's a little bit different. So what happens is that we had, obviously, it was Christopher Perkins, David Hauser, Robert Householder, Chance Bobeth, and Garrett Ayersman in that order. But the way that they're going to stake them up, because this is going to be one arrow at a time. You have a 40-second clock. The moment your arrow impacts the target, the person next to you goes. And the reason why Christopher Perkins is in position number 1 and David Hauser's in 5 is because of the way it's going to end. Christopher Perkins will have the advantage knowing everyone's score as we get to the 5th arrow. So,
that's interesting.
Something new. This is the 3rd time we've done it here in ASA competition. Working on the engagement with the fans, understanding who you're watching, the arrow impact on shooter to shooter.
So they may know how far this is because they have a device to tell them that, but it doesn't guarantee that they're going to hit where they're aiming, does it?
No, it never does. You still have to execute the shot, don't you?
You do, under pressure.
So here we go. Chris Perkins, the first shooter.
And how long does he have to shoot this arrow?
40 total seconds, but the moment his arrow hits, now, for the next shooter, the clock has started. Here's Garrett Ayersman.
I wonder if that amps up the next guy. You know, does Garrett, does his heart rate a little up because he's anticipating, oh, wow, he just shot the 14. Okay, well, and that wasn't a close target either, guys.
Sure wasn't. That target actually set at 42 yards, the taper at 25. Here's Chance Bobeth on the blessed box. It's at 35 yards. Chance, he's at 23 seconds, always known to be a holder. And he goes for the 14.
He just was not in the right spot. He was too far right. And you cannot see that with a naked eye. I don't know what he can see through his scope, but that was a tough one to see.
Householder, 47-yard Howling Wolf. And here is David Hauser on target 5, going for the turkey at 30 yards.
Okay, first up, Chris Perkins.
All right, so we'll score him now, Christine.
And for Chris.
So initially we're sitting at a score.
Like we said, it's just not a given. He knew how far it was. It was one of the shorter targets, but couldn't stay on the 14 for that one. Just was a little hot.
So 442 turns into a 450 for Chris Perkins.
But Garrett got it.
14 for Ayersman. Yep.
And now only 4 points behind Chris Perkins.
So 432 for Garrett Ayersman, who I mentioned before the break was in a tie for 3rd place. And they had to have a closest to the 12 shoot. That was between Jesse Broadwater and Brady Hempen.
Wow. So they had to fight it out to get here.
Okay. Broadwater came in with those micro arrows. He was shooting X10s. People making fun of him like, hey, closest to the center. It's like, well, closest to the center means the entire diameter of the arrow, not just the fact. So, yeah, it was pretty funny.
I don't think he's intimidated by
Jesse Broadwater.
I mean,
no.
come on.
No. So Householder, who is actually our current leader in Shooter of the Year competition, who's had a stellar year, leads Christopher Perkins by 1 single point.
Oh gosh, that's tight. I mean.
Yep. Garrett Ayersman 16 points back in that competition as we head to the final round after this one. So right now, here's the total. It's Christopher Perkins, 450. David Hauser takes over the lead at a 454. There's a tie at 450 with Householder. Chance Bobeth at a 42 and Garrett Ayersman at a 46. Garrett Ayersman, actually, Christine, in talking with him earlier on this morning on the range, had kind of given up the ghost in a way. He was like, look, I haven't been shooting well, and when you don't shoot well in this competition, oftentimes you're out. So he's like, as soon as this is over, I'm getting my truck heading back to West Virginia. Next thing you know, he finds himself in a 3-way tie for third and shot himself right into this competition.
You never know.
Yeah. So he's pretty happy about that.
Sure
As he thought
is.
his weekend was just not going the way he wanted to. Now, Erzman comes in here in 5th spot, finds himself in 4th place at the moment, only 4 points out of 3rd.
And Chris Perkins, he just made a shot, the 14, and he nailed it on that long deer. He's going to make up for what he lost on the tapier.
Here's Erzman. Told me before he's just going for 14s, didn't care.
And he is, and he's hitting them. He got that blessed buck 14 too.
Here's Chance Bobeff.
He's on the long deer, or excuse me, the long howling wolf. Taking some extra time with it.
Yeah, right as he usually does. Let it go right at the 24-second mark. 40 seconds on the clock for Householder. What a release. He's just got such a smooth release.
Yeah, it pops right out of his hand.
I think Householder's going for that turkey. And you got it. All right, first scoring target. 10 for David Hauser, who was out of 454, moves to 64. Chris Perkins' next one. Obviously, you saw what Hauser did and didn't want to relinquish the lead for too long. So Don holds up the card, and it is that confirmation of that 14. 464 now for Perkins. So he's tied with Hauser at the moment.
When 14s are in play, anything can happen in a shoot down.
14 for Erzman.
They used to applaud for those deer, and I don't know what's going on now. I guess 2 in a row kind of knows.
In this class, sometimes 14s become kind of a, no kidding, a 14, as opposed to judging.
10 for Chance.
Chance Bobeff with a 10.
I think that's what the crowd wants to see. The crowd wants to see known guys shooting 14s. That's all there is to it, because they're thinking, hey, if the women's pro and the men's pro and senior pros are hitting 14s and they don't know how far it is, then these guys should be out there nailing them. And they're doing making good work of it today.
All right, a 12 for Robert Householder. So as we take a look at the board after scoring, it's going to be Perkins at a 64, David Hauser at a 64, Householder at a 62, Chance Bobeff at a 52, and Garrett Erzman at a 60. So Erzman in 4th place at the moment, only 2 points behind 3rd and only 4 out of the lead.
The guy who thought he was just going to pack up and go to West Virginia
has a chance. But the question is, as he was just yakking to me, Erzman, I'm just going to go for 14s on all of them. Yeah, well, it's a little different now that you're getting this close, or is he still going to go for it?
I'm going to vote he's going to keep trucking, but here's the only disadvantage is somebody holding an umbrella for him because the sun just came out. And that's going to make shooting into the sun difficult. Yeah.
Kind of looks like he's on his own from our position.
I know.
You can see the umbrella being held for Householder. Oh, goes for the 14 on a taper, of course. That one only 25 yards away. That's nearly just a gimme. Here's David Hauser. Trying to get his win. Ooh, Hauser.
For some reason, he was a little off to the left.
That might be costly for David.
Yeah, it's a big loss. 8 points on a target.
After this,
when the 14 is in play, it's hard to survive those.
Perkins going for the 14.
And he got it.
Like he drilled it.
On the blessed buck. Oh.
Here comes Erzman. I don't know what that bobble was about.
He's shooting the long howling wolf now. Gosh, wow, that was quick.
Looks like he's in safe with a 10. Definitely wasn't going for that 14.
No.
Chance Bobeff. 24, 23, just so consistent with his
Wow.
release.
That's a hard to see 14 on that turkey that you can see on the screen, but he is well into it.
Turkey 30 yards away. All right, the 25-yard taper 14.
76.
For Householder. That's going to take him to 476.
Currently tied. Trying to duplicate Chris's 14.
Now we go to the big deer.
Just go for his 12.
42 yards down. It's an 8.
Unfortunately, he is outside of the 10, so David is not going to be happy with that.
472.
He'll be setting sail for Cabo after this one. He is going a little Bachelor party, David soon to be married.
Oh, that's great.
Perkins with a 14. Man, when it's on the line, Chris Perkins, of course, so far this season has 2 wins in the known pro class. He won Foley, and he won the last time we were in Augusta.
He's been doing this a long time and on a world stage, so I think this is old hat for him.
You know, it's funny when you look at Chris Perkins shoot under any pressure, it just looks like the nerves never get to him.
Mm-hmm. It does.
Chance on the turkey with a 14. For all you Chance Bobet fans. So now we have Christopher Perkins at a 478. Hauser slides to a 472. Householder at a 76. So that means Perkins has a 2-point lead over Householder. Garrett Erzman is at a 470, 2 points back from Hauser, and Chance at a 466 with that 14. Still pretty close in this one. Arrow number 4 of 5. And again, Christine, you've explained to us if we're within 10 points after arrow number 5, what happens?
They're going to go to a 6th and final target, and then that's going to decide the podium for us. Now they'll set up, I assume that it's going to be the javelina for all classes. This is the last class to shoot, so they'll set up that javelina potentially and set up a new stake for them.
All right, stake number 1 always shoots first, so Chance has moved his way to stake number 1 for this 4th arrow.
And so he took the umbrella for wind versus sun.
And he should release it. 1, 2. There you go. He's been very consistent, Christine, having 25 to 24 seconds remaining on the clock of a 40-second clock. 42-yard deer. Ooh, looks like a 10 for Robert on that one. We have David Hauser, who had just a bit of a bobble last target. Will he try to make that up with an aggressive 14? He goes for it.
I think he looks left with the naked eye right now.
Just a bit
Yeah,
left.
too close to the line.
Perkins on the Howling Wolf, the longest target we have on the course, 47 yards downrange.
It was a little English on that shot, it seemed like. It didn't seem like it went off when he wanted it to. And he is outside of the 10 ring.
Here's a 30-yard turkey. Does he go for the 14?
He does.
Oh, yeah. What do you say, Christine?
Miss.
Garrett. He went for it.
I really have to imagine that that one is tough to see, that the 14 is really hard to see from here.
Oh, yeah. So that was Chance Bobef on the tapier. That 14 takes him to 480. Robert Householder will be next. Householder in with a 10. That'll move him to 486. David Hauser, we saw that shot. He was aggressive, Christine. He went for it, but clearly outside. The question is 5 or 8 on that one, more than a 14.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, you called it. So it's a 5 for David.
That's too bad.
You can see the look on his face like, oh boy. For Chris Perkins, who came into this last arrow as our leader after he got it back, that's an 8.
That was just so rare. You could see it at the end of his shot. I wish we could see that one again. He had a look on his face, and he had a little flick of the bow.
And for Garrett Erzman, he was going for the 14 on this turkey. That would have really been a big move for him with the way scores had panned out. But it looks like it's got to be an 8 for the West Virginia native. So now, Christine, we're at 486s. That's Chris Perkins and Robert Householder. They're tied on the top of this board.
Yeah.
Bobef now all of a sudden out of nowhere moves himself into 3rd with a 480.
Like I said, with 14s in play, anything can happen in this kind of shoot down.
Erzman still in 4th with a 478, and David Hauser drops to 5th place with a 477. Final arrow of regulation. Who's ever within 10 points gets to shoot a 6th.
The sun decided to come out real strong for him. Now everybody's squinting.
Yeah.
They're looking into the sun. That doesn't make it easy.
And add a breeze to that now.
Yep.
So now where do the umbrellas go? Are you going to go sun? Or are you going to go breeze?
Depends on the person for sure.
London, Kentucky having a good time with their archers here in ASA competition. It's the 2019 Mathews Pro-Am final arrow of regular shoot down scoring.
Well, lucky for Garrett, this 14 ring is really marked up for him. It's in a white portion of the target, and it's marked up with black arrow holes. So.
Ooh, a little left.
It is. That's surprising. Maybe nerves?
Maybe.
Does he not look like he could hold for an hour?
He does. He worked on.
And it's so easy. His shot, gosh.
Drained
look at
that
14.
one. Mm-hmm. Nothing but net. Householder. And a tie for the lead right now. So, wow, he tried to go for the kill shot.
I think it might be just out. And then David's up on the longest one out here, and that's the Howling Wolf, so it'll be interesting to see what he goes for.
He's got nothing to lose.
Yeah. He's just out of it. I feel like he got rattled or something here in the past 2 targets. That's all.
This is the advantage of Perkins shooting that final target in regulation.
And he shoots for the 12, and he gets that.
He got the 12. So anyone who's in within 10 points goes to a 6th arrow. So the first one scored is an 8. So that was Garrett Erzman, who was going for that 14, just a little left, a little low. Man, after such a run and an unexpected move into the shoot down, you can see the disappointment on his face, because once Garrett gets here, he knows he wants to win. 14 for Chance Bobef.
He made it look easy on that one.
Didn't he? Garrett Erzman, by the way, heads into our final round of competition, the Classic, as the champion from last year.
Robert Householder. An 8 Robert moves into 494.
Householder with an 8. That's going to move him to 494. That means that Robert Householder all of a sudden is tied with Chance Bobef.
What?
Yeah. Garrett Erzman at a 486.
An 8 for David Hauser.
An 8 for David Hauser. So that's going to move him to 485. So that will be a 5th place finish for David Hauser.
No, Garrett's still alive, I'm sorry.
And Christopher Perkins.
And Chris Perkins.
So Perkins, looks like, Christine, you called a 12.
Looks good.
And there it is. So at 12, that's going to move him to 498. So that puts him his solo lead at the moment. So we know Hauser will be in 5th. 4th, done and dusted for Garrett Erzman. So we have Perkins, Householder, and Chance Bobef all within 10 points of Christopher Perkins, who now has a 4-point advantage with Householder and Bobef all tied up at 494.
They're both 494, but they also have the same number of bonus rings. They are at a dead tie. Robert and Chance. Am I reading that right?
I believe you are. You mean bonus rings? We're looking at 12, straight up 12s. So 14s in this one count as bonus rings, or just 12s?
That's a great question. My gut feeling was yes, they do count, but I'm not sure. We need to find out the answer to that one.
Yeah, we definitely do. We'll send our cohort PJ Riley to go find that out. He'll get back to us in a second. Because looking at it right now, you have Householder, who has a 12 and a 14. And you have Chance, who has 3 14s.
So PJ confirmed that the 14s in the shootdown are counted as bonus rings. So their tally, the one that we see on the scoreboard right now, includes 14s.
So in terms of what we have in this 5-arrow shoot down, Chance Bobef with the nod at 14 bonus rings, tied for 2nd spot to Robert Householder, who has a 12 and a 14, so that'd be 2.
Okay, and they're setting up on the field for the 6th target, and they are using the javelina, and they've backed way back to the fence line.
Now keep in mind, this class is a 50-yard max.
Right.
But there's
As
also...
all pro classes are.
Absolutely. However, ASA is known to throw out a 51.5-yarder.
It's happened.
Oh, absolutely. So
usually a coyote, but whatever.
So I'll be interested to see what the rangefinders say on this yardage, because they've moved the stake back and they moved that javelina close to the fence. I think this is going to be
stretch it out for him.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a real close to 50-yard poke on this one. And that is not a very big target if you've ever seen a javelina. I don't think to the right to the javelina you're looking at right now is the deer, and I think you could actually put the javelina under the deer and the javelina wouldn't touch top of the
The
javelina
legs.
wouldn't touch the bottom body of the deer. Yeah, you can see, look at the upper part of your screen there. You can see how small that javelina is, kind of upper left-hand part, and how tall that deer is. So, here's the deal. Chris Perkins has a 4-point deal, so he has the choice to go last. Bo Beff will shoot second, and Householder will shoot first. So, this is kind of what we just saw. So the way it works, Christine, is very simple. As simple as it gets. If after these arrows are shot, if Chris Perkins comes out on top, he's the champ. If there's a tie again for second place, we're going to go to closest to the center on the 12, which is the bottom 12 here in ASA competition, inside that 10 ring. So Robert Householder, who has got 2 bonus rings in this one, is going to go first.
While the sun has gone away, the wind has not. It is really picking up now, so that's not an easy hold.
With 40 seconds on the clock, Archers do have the chance
Oh, he
to
went
let
for
down.
the 14.
And he went for it high left. That's going to score him a 5. You can see he shakes.
But he went for it.
Yeah.
He just said, I'm going for it.
Why not? Podium on the podium. Better second. Put this away.
And
So
that
now-
changes things for the tie as well. So
Yeah,
he
so
was-
for Chance, here's the question. Do you go comfortable in second, or do you go gunning after Chris Perkins, who's got a 4-point advantage, try to put the pressure on Perkins by going for the 14?
Oh,
Right?
man, I can't put money on it. I don't know.
It's a long way away on a javelina.
I
It
know.
is such a big risk to go for the 14 in my view. Size and distance.
I mean,
I don't care
they
if you
didn't
have a rangefinder.
No, they didn't set this up to be a 14 shot.
Chance actually having a conversation, asking Mike about something. Chance is going to get another look at it. He will indicate to Mike when he's ready to go, when that 40-second clock will start. For Chance, we've seen him let it go at around 24 seconds remaining on the clock.
And we don't have time on the clock, so that might have been it. They're resetting the clock.
Oh, that's right. In this particular situation, they're giving him a full minute.
Okay. I swear the ASA staff has a lot of trust in these shooters because they're standing right. they're not 10 yards off to the left of the javelina.
Oh, and the wind just picked up.
Sure did.
Just like it did for Householder.
Yeah, but he asked for wind to block with the umbrella for wind.
Chance lets it fly.
And he went for the 14. He just didn't get it.
Okay. He's got his
the
8, so
eight,
second
right.
place wrapped up for Chance Bobeff. No worse than second place for Chance on this one. So for Chance, he's going to go at 5:02. At 498, so basically all Chris Perkins has to do is just hit foam. A 5.
I'm sure he can manage that.
I don't know, it just got gusty all of a sudden. We lost our backdrop again here.
But he's taking the umbrella for wind as well.
A 5 to win for Chris Perkins, and this would be an unprecedented 3rd win of the season and back-to-back wins for the Canadian.
Gosh, he's steady. Wow.
He lets it go with a little English,
But-
and it looks like
but he hit it.
he did. He hit foam, it's good, and he'll firm it up with a 10. So he'll have a 6-point win in this one. So congratulations to Christopher Perkins from Canada, the Mathews shooter, the 2019 Mathews Pro-Am champion, and 3rd win of the 2019 Mackenzie ASA Pro-Am Tour for him. What a year he's had when he gets to the Shootdown, Christine.
Fantastic.
So for Christopher Perkins, a great job. The pressure was on. His competition threw a lot at him, but he was able to come away at the top of the box, and he's with PJ.
Oh, Chris getting his last arrow back there. Chris, tell me about that shoot down. You had some 14s, you had some misses. Boy, you was up and down.
Well, the first one, I'll tell you what, I'd like that half yard back that I apparently lost somewhere. I broke a good first shot. It just, when it hit, I was like, uh-oh. I definitely lost, some yards somewhere, but at a half yard, 14s back-to-back on one pretty stout target back there, but, just I did what I had to do, I guess, but I'm not really happy with how I shot, to be honest with you. It's just there's some there that I'd like to certainly change, that's for sure.
How about this weekend, though? The known class was ridiculous. You guys were shooting lights out.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, I mean, the scores generally are a little bit lower here, with the lighting and the conditions that, some people talk about shooting up on the power line there. And to be honest with you, I didn't see any scores, lower than what we'd normally see out, on a good lighted course.
Right.
So it definitely made it challenging today with our little bit of a delay. I mean, we had 2 targets to go. Right out of the gate, the first target I shot out of the 2 we had left, I shot a 8 low, and it was just kind of a roller coaster of events this weekend.
All right, well, congratulations. Great win.
Well, hey, I appreciate it. Thank you.
And our 2019 Mathews Pro-Am Kentucky champion, Christopher Perkins. A check from ASA for $2,100. A check from True Ball for $1,000. Check from Mathews for $10,000.
Get in the red zone. Carbon Express's small diameter Maxima Red SD, taking big game hunting to an all-new level, making other competitors' single spine arrows obsolete. Patented tri-spine technology controls arrow flight, delivering better downrange energy and accuracy, all in a small diameter shaft. Think you're shooting the best hunting arrow in the game? Think again. Stay in the red zone. Assume nothing and shoot Carbon Express.
All right, we're back in London, Kentucky, wrapping things up here. And Christine Harrelson, we had 4 great shoot downs here in London, Kentucky at the Laurel County Fairgrounds. Wrap it up for me, what'd you say?
A lot of great shooting under kind of trying conditions, to be honest with you. I think every single class had different conditions out on the shoot-off field.
Yeah, and definitely the weather threw us something. I mean, luckily the rain held off on this one, but we had some wind, we had some sun, we had some clouds, we had all kinds of crazy stuff going on, and it made it for very challenging conditions.
I just want to note one thing, that the ASA had a really difficult decision to make today during a sort of regular play because the storms were so bad, we didn't know which way they were going to go. And I just want to say it was awesome that they made the right call. They let us wait and then get back out and finish our rounds.
Well, next up for us here at the 2019 Mackenzie ASA Pro-Am Tour calendar, August 3rd is the Mackenzie ASA Classic in Metropolis, Illinois. Looking forward. Christine, what is it like in Metropolis, Illinois? What are you expecting in a couple of weeks?
I'm expecting muck boots.
Yes.
And sort of the fire of Hades above us. It should be very hot and very wet. It usually is there in Illinois. It's rare to get a cooler and drier year. So we're going to have to sweat it out, I think.
And Shooter of the Year is on the line as well. We have fierce competitions across the board in the pro classes and in all the amateur classes we shoot here in ASA competition. Visit asaarchery.com if you want to come out and join us and shoot. They shoot all ages out here and have a great time, and it gives you a great opportunity to meet and mingle with pros like Christine Harrelson. Well, that's going to do it for us here from Laurel County Fairgrounds in London, Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining us. The 2019 Mathews Pro-Am is in the books. We look forward to seeing you next time, August 3rd, for the Mackenzie ASA Classic, the 2019 Mackenzie ASA Pro-Am Tour. For Christine Harrelson, Chuck Cooley, and PJ Riley, I'm Greg White. Thanks for watching our coverage, and we'll see you in a few weeks.
Get in the red zone. Carbon Express's small diameter Maxima Red SD, taking big game hunting to an all-new level, making other competitors' single spine arrows obsolete. Patented tri-spine technology controls arrow flight, delivering better downrange energy and accuracy, all in a small diameter shaft. Think you're shooting the best hunting arrow in the game? Think again. Stay in the red zone. Assume nothing and shoot Carbon Express.
We don't build these bows to be different. We build them to be better. We're the outsiders, the mavericks, the fearless. We forge our own path. We're not chasing anyone, but we know what they're running from. It's an obsession, and the obsessed never rest.
Vince Lombardi once said, winning is not a sometime thing. It's an all-time thing. You don't do things right once in a while. You do them right all the time. Winning is a habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. I've learned in my career I'm only as good as the tools I use.
12 for Levi Morgan.
One chance, one moment, one shot.